Welcome and Happy New Year to our Sanctuary Online faithful. It's good to see you all tonight. My name is Jo Bell, and tonight I am your host, but not your facilitator. We have a big, exciting change for you tonight a little bit. So I want to pop out here. I'm going to go ahead and jump on to sharing a screen and some slides with you real quickly, and just to welcome you all and say, man, oh man, oh man, thank you for those 2 weeks off. It was wonderful, and welcome to 2022. We're excited ourselves to look at all 2022 has to offer us. I will tell you, we had some programming work preparing for the rest of January, and then we got all excited about a new Sanctuary Online initiative that I can't tell you about. Can I, Cheryl?
That's mean.
She totally threatened me.
That's a teaser if I ever heard one.
So I want to give you a wonderful tease, because as usual, we're incredibly excited to stay and keep delivering and developing even wider networks and circles here at Sanctuary Online. So welcome everybody, and welcome into your 2022. Briefly, for those of you who are new with us tonight, Sanctuary has always been and will always be about creating community. And so we'd love to see your faces. If you can enable your video camera, if you can. And also you want to go ahead and put yourself in gallery view rather than speaker view, so you can see everybody. And it's kind of like we're out here on the Sanctuary property, maybe tonight around a fire with nice warm coats, but we're really just chilling and being together. Also, if you want to open your chat box, and you can let us know your first and last name if that's not on your in your Zoom box, and also an email address. Each week we send out one email to let you know what has happened and what is happening here at Sanctuary and what's coming on Sanctuary Online. And another feature we have here, if you'd like to, you can give us your cell phone number, and we will send you out a text on Tuesday to remind you that during COVID, it's actually Tuesday, because that helps some of us who don't have those 9 to 5 Monday through Friday jobs anymore, which we'll talk about next week. Also, if you want to reach us, you can always send an email to talk to us at SanctuaryInTheWoods.com. We have a website at SanctuaryInTheWoods.com. We've got a Facebook page at SanctuaryInTheWoods.com. So many, many ways to get a hold of us. And tonight, I just want to thank Ken. We had the most wonderful Advent series, and many of you who took part in our Advent, the candle lighting and just sharing what the season of Advent meant to you. We looked at how fire and light show up in all sorts of different of the world's great religions. And then we had wonderful conversations about our own holiday traditions and memories and acts of service and things like that we did. So that was a wonderful Advent series. Thanks again, Ken, for all the research. You are always a wonderful teacher, and that way we bring education as well as inspiration and community in the work that we do. I do want to remind everyone that our 2021 annual meeting is going to be on Sunday, January 23rd at 3 p.m. Central. So we'd love you to be there and to learn all about what we've done in 2021 and the initiatives we have coming forward in all the ways Sanctuary shows up on the planet, with Sanctuary Online here in the building, as well as Sanctuary Online. And also, just a little kicker, I sent a little Canva video out, letting you know that we're talking in the next 3 nights about what is a world 22 months into COVID. How has that shaped us, right? And for many of us, it's actually shaped us in some positive ways. We've taken on new skills or learned new things or met new people that we never would have done in a world pre-COVID. In other ways, a few of us have taken on some things maybe that we need to take a look at and say, do we want to bring these things with us into 2022? And the 3 lanes we're going to look at tonight is in our personal lives. Next week, we're talking about what many are speaking of as the Great Resignation, right? People who have had their workplace change, and maybe because of the changes in their own selves with COVID, they've changed their outlook on work. So we're going to have a panel next week. We're very excited about that. In January, at the end of the month, we're going to go ahead and do our regularly scheduled end of the month book conversation, a book called The Personal Secretary by Marie Benedict, getting some great reviews. And then February 1st, we'll finish the third leg of this series. How has COVID changed our spiritual lives? Many folks have found their spirituality change, where they are sourced by their spirituality change, how they go to church or not go to church, all that change. So again, what has COVID wrought tonight in our personal lives, next week in our professional lives, and on February 1st in our spiritual lives? And here's a little more commercial for the book club. You have plenty of time to take a look at this. Personal librarian Cheryl, any comments on the book club so far?
Anybody else want to comment on it? I'm reading it and it's very interesting.
I finished it, and this is Jane Ann. I finished it yesterday because it was due at the library, and it was a really interesting, great read.
Good deal, Jane Ann. Thanks so much, hon.
And so I'm happy to have read it. I'm really happy to have read it.
Good deal. Well, we're excited about that.
Read it.
Read it.
Read it. I appreciate that. Well, my friends, tonight we are doing something a little bit different, and I'm excited personally to introduce to you a good friend and now business partner of mine, Kristen Vandermeer. Kristen, you and I met, I want to say almost 20 years ago, working together in a corporate setting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we met again online.
Weird, because I'm still only 25 because of COVID.
The math part doesn't work, but Kristen and I, our reconciliation is truly in line with tonight's conversation around COVID. Kristen, you want me to share? You want to share? You share it from your perspective.
What am I sharing? How we connected?
Yeah, how we met, how we showed up in each other's lives again, how you got here tonight.
How we re-met. How we got here tonight. Many baby, somehow working in the corporate world. Joby and I crossed paths when we worked in corporate facilitation, leadership training programs. And I think you were already consulting. I think you had moved from a business unit to the corporate level. And so Joby was one of the many people I looked up to that was, probably mentoring me and learning as I went. And I had that role for a few years, and I left that role, and we even stayed in touch for a little while. I know you traveled to New York to facilitate for the company, and I remember us having dinner one night. And the funny thing is, as I've reminded you, you were just getting ready to launch CLM. And that was the last conversation we had for almost 15 years. I'm scrolling through Facebook in my pandemic boredom, and I see that this group Joby runs, Sanctuary something or other, is going to have a book club meeting run by Cheryl for where the crawfish thing, or the crawdads, or something about crawfish says something. I don't remember, something about crawfish. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just read that book last month. And despite not knowing the title, I loved the book. And I commented on your Facebook post, hey, recently read that book, loved it. And you're like, well, you should come to the book club discussion. And I was like, why don't I? Why not? And I probably have been to 3 out of 4 meetings every month since then. And, it's changed a lot about my life and other things that have happened since then, which we'll keep talking about as we go into things. But yeah, what a great, right? Wouldn't have necessarily crashed in if Joby and Cheryl and Ken and everybody hadn't brought this program online because of COVID.
Absolutely. It has changed. It is one of the answers to the question tonight, Kristen. Personally and professionally, COVID has changed our lives so much.
Mm-hmm.
And we would count tonight and our 75 previous shows as straight up blessing. We've met so many people and reconciled, ignited our friendship. And now you and I are business partners in another venture we're doing. So
I
anyway,
know.
what I want to do tonight is hand this conversation over. Kristen has wonderfully volunteered, said yes to our invitation to
Sure.
facilitate tonight's conversation and next week's panel. So Kristen, I'm going to hand it over to you. And because I'm having internet problems, what a good night for you to be doing this. I'm going to actually sign off and sign right back on, okay? They're all yours.
All right. And I think I'm sharing. So
You're doing great.
Joby or Barb or someone, can you confirm? I am sharing. So first, let me say, I couldn't do this without saying what has COVID wrought. I feel like that's just more appropriate, so I might change it. But we are going to talk about changes to our personal lives today. So hobbies, habits, routines, we'll talk more about that. I just set the career and the spiritual bit aside for a moment. Like you heard from Joby, we're going to come back to that in the next few weeks. Just break this into some chunks that we can have. And I just want to talk today about maybe things that changed, but also what we want to carry forward or what we want to leave behind and how we're going to continue to adapt to those things. So let me give myself a little more of an introduction. Thank you, Joby, for that introduction. I've been corporate life since I was 19. A month before my 19th birthday, winter break from college, my mother, who was an executive secretary, was like, you're going to work in this office for your 4 weeks of winter break. And I went and I typed things like on an actual typewriter. Just so don't try to do the math here. You won't get it right. But there were computers, but there were also still typewriters. And then I went back the next summer, and then I worked some nights, and I